We want to spend a little bit of time before our break talking about language. Language, communicating with sounds and symbols. Language is wonderful. You can use it to share ideas. You can use it to teach. You can use it to ask questions. You're using it to learn new things, to help you enjoy your life. And in fact, it's what we've been doing all morning. I've been using a lot of language, a lot of talking, and you've been doing a lot of listening. Now, I could be up here talking to nobody. Sometimes I do that. Or I could have an audience here that I could talk to. But we're using language this morning. And I'm not just saying words, I'm using gestures. I'm using my expression in order to hopefully keep you interested in what I'm talking about. But language isn't the result of knowing things and then being able to say or write about them. Language is a mental tool that's used to help children get new knowledge, to know more, to do more. The more you use language, like that old TV ad, the more you know. And the more you know, the more you can use language to communicate what you know. And when you do that, you know more. And then you can communicate more, and so on and so forth. Now, according to Vygotsky and Company, young children develop the ability to think as they talk. Kids actually use verbal language and speech as a way to help them construct their thinking. And we're going to talk a little bit about different kinds of speech and how that process works. It's what we mean when we say a child is thinking aloud. A child who repeats the teacher's instructions. Fold it over and then put it in. Fold it over and then put it in. Repeating the teacher's instructions almost like a mantra. They're using verbal language to help solidify this skill that they're acquiring. A child repeating a word or a phrase to describe something new is another example. Like, oh, you like that, huh? That's great. You know what that's called? Falafel. Falafel. That's right, it's called falafel. Is that a new word? Falafel. 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 And he keeps saying falafel over and over again as he's experiencing falafel. He's saying it to internalize. I know what this means now. Not only is it a funny word and fun to say, and I like what Dad says, especially when he makes fun of me and he goes, falafel. And I go, falafel. Falafel. I'm now learning about what falafel is by repeating it to myself again and again. Language is an important tool for social learning, too. When children talk to others as they work, their language supports their shared learning. And the verbal interaction that they're doing is helping solidify whatever the skill they're acquiring. So you give an instruction for kids to do things, and two kids are together, and one of them starts saying over again and again what you need to do. Now for that one child, the time that they can tell them, repeat the teacher's instructions for them is very useful. They're using that language to support internalizing and figure out that's what the teacher wants me to do. But you know what? You're all very smart teachers because you looked at the kids and you've begun to use your toolkit. Spoiler. Use your toolkit to understand that the child who needs to repeat things over and over again is a great match for the child who needs the instructions repeated again. I can't get it the first time. If you just tell me again, well, I've got Johnny here, and Johnny always has to say it to himself a couple of times. So I'll grab Doug and put Doug and Johnny together, because Doug always needs the instructions read to him again. A perfect match. They're both using language, but for different reasons. So today we want to talk about three different types of language: verbal language, speech, and what they mean, and then we'll talk about how you can use them in the classroom. So the first is public speech. Language directed at others. It has a social and communicative function. It's what we're doing right now. I am speaking, and you guys are listening. I'm utilizing public speech. Pretty straightforward. I want some juice. The only way you're going to know I want some juice is if I say, I want some juice. Or I'm tickling you, and you really like it, but you want me to stop tickling you. So you say, no. So I stop tickling you. Private speech is the next one. Also known as self-talk. Has everybody heard that term before, self-talk? I don't think I ever heard it until I read Tools of the Mind. Private speech or self-talk is self-directed speech. It's audible, you can hear it, but it's not intended for anybody other than the person saying it. It's when we narrate our actions or talk ourselves through a task. It's like, oh, wait a second. I think I put this one in here. Okay, forget it. Guess what I just did? Self-talk. I needed something in there, so I started, oh, well, where is it? Where is it? I need to know where my keys are. Where are my keys? Let me see, where are my keys? That's right. Let's see, last night, yep, I watched Housewives of New York. Then I watched the 10 o'clock news, which I really did. And then I went to bed. Well, where were the keys? Oh, that's right, I remember now. They're by the TV when I went to switch it off. So we probably use it a lot ourselves. Self-talk, when we talk about self-talk with kids, and even for us adults, it has a regulatory effect. It helps keep us calm. I'm okay, I'm okay. The lights just flickered on and off. There's a big storm. So you say, I'm okay, I'm okay. It was the lights flickering. I say that to myself, tell myself calm down. It's all right, it's all right. The big loud, it's just God burping. Not a burp. We all burp, it's just God burping. It's just God burping, it's okay. Or how about this? One time, there was an old train, and it had a very important job to do. You had to get up that mountain. So what did the train say to get up to the mountain? I think I can, 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 I think I can. Using that self-speech to get me into the regulatory mode to keep going. I can do it. Yes, I can. Here I go. I did it. That's self-talk, helping us, keep us regulated. Or if necessary, if we need to get up a mountain, keeping us energized. Now, when children become older, speech is no longer solely used to communicate, but in order to have something think in, so repeating a word, repeating a phrase, repeating instructions so you can hear them. I'll go back to the example of falafel. Well, you say falafel over and over again, so you're really taking it in. So it's different than just repeating what you say. You're repeating it for a reason. You're saying it out loud for a reason, so that you can understand it. You're talking through steps in a task. Over, under, and through. Make a loop, tie it, 2 loops, over, under, and through. And I'm tying my shoes. Or to get the tube out of paint, to get it in the little cup, you've got to do it just right. And I, as a teacher, have learned you really need 2 squeezes. If you do 1 squeeze, you're not going to get enough, and then I'm not going to be around, and you're going to take that tube and you're going to squeeze it all out. You can't do 3 because then it spills over. I know you need 2 squeezes. So I tell everybody 2 squeezes. Nobody listens. Nobody gets it. They get that tube, they start squeezing as much as they can. But I show them, and I say, now when you take the tube, you say, now everybody, squeeze, squeeze, and then you're done. Squeeze, squeeze, and you set it up, and you go from table to table, and say, okay, well good, you got it, okay, what do you say? Squeeze, squeeze. That's right. Do you do 3? No. No, you don't do 3. You stood up there, and you said you had to do 2. That's right, well, thank you very much. Squeeze, squeeze. Everybody listen to Billy, he got it. So that's providing the children with a scaffolding of self-talk to help them understand what they need to do and to enhance their learning. So private speech doesn't disappear. You don't grow out of it. You use it, certainly. But some private speech begins to merge into inner speech and thinking. Once a child is a more capable, competent communicator, their private speech, their self-talk, turns into inner speech and verbal thinking. I just did it again. I use internal thinking to see, where am I? What do I need to do? How much time do I have? I want to take a break. A couple of people just went downstairs, so they probably want to take a break too. I better keep going. I use that internal speech to keep me on track. So we do it all the time. But we really go from just broadcasting talking, no, yes, juice, more, gimme, mine, no, to self-talk. I really want it, but I can't have it. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, over, under, and through, to inner speech, where you're now thinking. And you're not thinking in long sentences, but you've acquired this use of language, this playing with language, has allowed you to create your own inner speech, and your own inner dialogue, and it's different for all of us. But there is a component of language being used as part of thinking. And you have to go through this process until you can get to that kind of inner thinking and that inner speech. It's internal, non-audible, and self-directed. And it's different for everybody. So, language strategies in the classroom. Modeling the use of private speech Some kids are playing together, and they're playing with things and playing with the ideas of more or less. And you go over and say, okay, remember everybody, you stack them up like this, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5. You say, boy, that looks like a really tall one. I wonder what would be taller than this tallest one. Oh, I know, if you put 6 together, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, look at that. So you can model self-talk by asking open-ended questions, by wondering and not telling. You encourage kids to talk as they think. You give them those cues like squeeze, squeeze. Or more importantly, and we wrote it here in the handout, under language, at the very bottom, supporting language in the classroom. Then you can now get ready for this. I'm really going to say this. Encourage public speech in small groups and large groups. Allow children to verbalize their thoughts out loud when a story is being read. Circle time, get ready. Circle time need not mean all children are to be quiet. If you're hearing a lot of chatter, but you listen in, and the chatter is about what you're talking about, well, they're using public speech, and maybe they're using some self-talk to solidify, to make sense of what you're doing. That's not a time to say, everybody be quiet, no, quiet, quiet, quiet. No, maybe there's a lot of use there. If you take a little time and you listen to it, that can be very beneficial to them. Having snack time. It's not a time for everybody to be quiet and eat. Snack time is also a time for chit-chat. Snack time could be a time for talking. Snack time could be a time to introduce some scaffolding. If you're really having trouble with that, yeah, you can never get that straw open on your juice cup, because when you bang it down, it just crumples. And then you can't stick it in there. But you know what? I learned something. Watch. Halfway, rip. Halfway, rip. And then you can get the straw out of a little piece of plastic. Did anybody know that? It took me a long time to figure that out. When you tear halfway down the straw, you can get the straw out easily, and you don't break either end of it. So you teach them during snack time, and then you hear a lot of kids saying, halfway rip. No, she said halfway rip. Now, that's not, you're making noise at snack time. Maybe you're using self-talk as modeled by the teacher to do it. So we actually want some language going on in our classrooms, right? And I'm sure we're not running any military institutions here. I've been in many of your classrooms, and there's a lot of noise, and I love it. But that doesn't mean you just let everybody talk whatever they want. You've got the control. You've got the power. You're giving them a little bit of power to use self-talk where you think you'd be effective. You're giving them the opportunity to have conversations there. It's fine to say, okay, no, listen. We're talking about flat standing here, not about what you did on vacation. Remember, tomorrow is show and tell, and you can bring the content if you like. But today, we're talking about flat standing. So you can bring them back to whatever it is that's going on. So there is time for talking, and there's time to be quiet. Finding that right mix between the two, well, that's your job. You want to make your actions verbally explicit. Do self-talk yourself. Let's see, well, first we're going to do this, and you talk through what you're going to do. And you do that many times. Okay, now it's time for a sing-along. I'm going to grab the CD player from here, and I've got a special CD in my bag, which I'm going to take out now and show everybody. Okay, we put it in and we press, what's that, Ollie? That's right, we press play, and then you go. So talk through, narrate your actions as a model to show the kids how they can narrate their own actions and use the self-talk. Now, we also want to allow kids to do this self-talk whenever necessary. And the self-talk will emerge. We do it all the time. And sometimes it's a phrase here, sometimes it's half a phrase. So a wonderful example somebody gave me of a child beginning to use his self-talk was the child always loved to play with his little sister's ears. She would grab them and grab her ears and do it all the time. And then you know what she found out? Dad has ears too. And Mom has ears, and my older brother has. And guess what? Just about everybody I know has ears. And they all got to be touched. I'm not supposed to touch ears, so I'm learning not to touch ears. So, I am taught by Mom and Dad and by my very nice teacher that when I want to touch them, I say, only my ears. Only my, so I go to touch, only my ears. I learned that. And then all of a sudden, the child is going for his little sister, and I witnessed this, going for his little sister. And she said, She looked up at Mom. Mom's like, now she's saying this all the time. She keeps saying only my age, only my age. I said, wonderful. It's working. She's internalized that message that she can't touch anybody's ear, only hers. And she's using that mantra that we gave her, that simple statement, only my ears. And it just changed her behavior. And then she looked at you, and you gave her lots of praise. That's working. She won't say only my ears for long. That's only a stage that she's going through. So allowing kids to use self-talk, seeing it for what it is, as that critical piece of development that can help them solidify the learning of a new task, teaching them to be competent communicators, and in the case, remember, of Johnny and Doug, actually totally helping out your buddy, who can never get the directions the first time. But if you have to say to them a couple of times because you like to do it, well, bully for you and bully for him. So language, like we said earlier, plays such an important role in development, plays such an important role in these tools of the mind and how it can be done.